Is there money to be made over Christmas, in your opinion, on the markets?
If there is, it's not easy money, that's for sure.
I
certainly think that that there could be money to be made, especially when it's thin. There's a bit of volatility, a bit of movement. So if you keep your wits about you, there's always money to be made.
Are you staying to make money, or are you taking a Christmas break?
No, I've got one foot on the beach already.
What do you expect to happen to the JSE All Share over December? We're currently above that 27,000 point level. Do you think that's sustainable with the lower volumes that we'll see trading over December?
Well, it does seem that way, Bronwyn. We've had a lot of reason to sell this market over the past few weeks, and it's been a pretty miserly sell-off. I think there's really a reluctance for people to be aggressively on the sell side. Most people have got their minds on their holidays already, and I don't think there's going to be too much in it either way. In fact, I think we might drift sideways to up for the rest of the month.
Sideways to up for the rest of the month. You're frowning. Is that just because
No.
you're not sure of Grant's commentary?
No, I agree 100% with Grant. I'm not sure I'm frowning. It is the thin volume. I mean, Grant makes a brilliant point there. We have had a ton of reasons to sell this market, heck, since about August, and so we haven't done. I mean, and I say we, I mean the royal we, everyone out there. People aren't going to suddenly start selling it now. Traditionally, the low volume, slightly high volatility December, most of the time kind of ends up. The market's the bias to the market is on the upside, and no one's going to suddenly come through selling now. So if anything, the bias is up. I think that level, the 27,000 on the Aussie, very likely to hold. We're not going to make huge gains over the next couple of weeks, but certainly if you go away today, 1st of Jan, 2nd of Jan, portfolio will be a little bit higher.
Traditionally, what happens when everybody is back at their desk in January? Do we usually see a stronger trading environment, or is there no set trend?
It's a slow start back. Some poor people are back in the first week of Jan, some second, some third. There's a gradual bit of a ramp up, but January generally starts to continue that trend. People don't want to jump in too quickly and start getting aggressive, sort of computing what's happening, looking forward for the year. We've all kind of got ideas for what 2010 is going to look like. We're not going to suddenly change them when we come back in January. So if anything, that trend's likely to continue. The change will be a pick up in liquidity, in the volumes traded, and probably a small fall off in the volatility.
And Grant, where do you believe the money is going to be made in the new year?
Sorry, what do I think of what's going to happen in the new year?
Where do you think the money is going to be made? I'm a little bit more specific in the new year.
Yes. Well, I personally do think it's going to be more of the same, at least for the first couple of months. As Simon said, the mindset's not going to shift overnight. People have a certain mindset set in place that's driven this market up. All the fundamental factors that are perceived to be in play are going to still be there come the sort of 10th of January. So certainly in the first month or two, I expect more of the same. After that, I think things will get a little more interesting.
The other big story out today is obviously that Abu Dhabi has stepped in to help fellow United Arab Emirates member Dubai with a $10 billion injection, of which $4.1 billion has been allocated to troubled state-owned conglomerate Dubai World. That's where all the trouble started. The move was the least expected of all options that Dubai had on the table. That's after requesting a standstill on a $26 billion in Dubai World debt on November the 25th. It alarmed markets and it shook confidence in emerging markets. S&P futures jumped on the news, reversing early losses and pushing Treasury futures to session lows. Markets in Asia also rallied on the news. Abu Dhabi is the largest member of the United Arab Emirates Federation and a big oil exporter. So is the trouble in Dubai done and dusted in your opinion, Grant?
I'm not quite convinced of that. From what I understand, some of that loan is conditional upon the debt restructuring that they've been looking for. And, that's not a done deal yet. Some of the creditors might have something to say about that. And even if it may well put some of those fears to bed, certainly the market there was up 10% today. The credit swaps narrowed by 125 basis points. So there is a lot of positivity and hope around it. But, these things are never cast in stone, and they often never turn out to be that simple. And also there are a lot of other worries around debt and credit markets, around the likes of Greece and Spain. So perhaps it's not as rosy as it looks.
Simon, I know you're not going to be watching the markets for the better half of 2 weeks, but do you think that we'll see more emerging from Dubai and this news flow come January?
Short answer, yes. I mean, I think this has kind of solved the problem now. As Grant says, the story is bigger. But I think also, I mean, 80 billion in 2009 speak is almost petty cash. In 2007, that was a number that impressed us. Abu Dhabi was kind of always going to come to the party, or somehow they were going to fix it up. This probably was the option least expected. I frankly thought that Abu Dhabi would want assets. They've bailed Dubai before. I thought they'd want some assets there. But I can't see the UAE as a whole, and that's mostly Abu Dhabi backing it up, allowing Dubai to collapse. It would be bad for them, it would be bad for the region. I think it's a case of how they're going to save it. Are there going to be more stories coming out in the new year in terms of and perhaps even over Christmas, because of course it's not a holiday season in that part of the world? Shortly, I think we will. I think there is going to be, and some of it even with Dubai World, need more money, need more structuring, but I don't see the whole of Dubai collapsing in a heap.
We do need to touch on gold. It has retraced ground, now trading at about $1,122 an ounce. Grant, this to you. Do you expect gold will recover and look close to that $1,200 an ounce level? Or is that it on the gold front? Have we seen the rally and now from here perhaps downside for the yellow metal?
No, I do like the story behind gold. I don't think any of the factors that are driving it have changed. I think it's a short-term correction in an ongoing bull trend, and I do like gold to move back to 1,200. It had a strong $20-odd bounce today on this news. I think the game's back on somewhat, especially with the news out of Dubai, and I like the gold story. I think it's still very much in place.
Right now trading up about $6, $1,120 an ounce. Do you also subscribe to that bullish story on the gold market?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the gold story. I don't particularly like it. I think it's largely crazy. Pointers, momentum.
It's a very emotional relationship that people have with gold.
Yeah, and mine is quite easy. I don't like it. But the momentum is there. Make no bones about it. The pullback, I would have expected it earlier. Closer to 1,100. It hit 1,200 plus. Pullbacks are good in the bigger picture. I think gold will power on. I think it'll get to the 1,200. People are saying 1350 in 2010. I see no reason why not.
Where would you be placing your bets for January? Are we going to go with financials, resources, industrials? Or are you going to be stock picking across the board? Where would you be playing the money?
I'm looking for 2010 to be really all about emerging markets. I think North America, Western Europe, the United Kingdom and out of recession, but it's going to be a slow, hard slog. We look at what we're seeing in South Korea, Australia to a lesser degree, China and India. It's going to be those emerging markets. So it's going to be companies who've got exposure there, and those are diversified miners. Those are some media companies such as Naspas. It's some of you, SAB Miller have got space there. British American Tobacco, very defensive, not in China, but certainly got India and East exposure. So I'm looking for emerging markets as to be the driver for 2010.
Grant, are you also enthusiastic about emerging markets into the new year?
Without doubt. There is no doubt that emerging markets, the commodities, that's what's going to be driving the next year.